Again, my name is Ariel Davenport. I'm the lead architect at Center. And really what that means is that I help our customers implement and ensure that things that they put into their environment are going to work and meet the business challenges that they face. AI has been a big part of that, and we are seeing an increasing need around AI. So, Michael, you want to give a quick intro about
Yeah,
yourself?
absolutely. Yeah, my name is Michael Ruhi. I'm a security engineer from Checkpoint. I've been in cybersecurity for about 8 years. Um, Ariel and I really wanted to come on and give you guys some practical ideas of how AI is going to help you guys in your business. And then myself being a security practitioner, I kind of wanted to give you guys an introduction to the security lens, how we're approaching it here at Checkpoint, and just make sure that as you leverage these tools, you're able to mitigate some risk within your organization. But Ariel, I think you had something specific you wanted to talk about too, so you want to jump into that?
Yeah. So before we get started too far into this, if you have not taken a look at the agenda, I would encourage you to do that. We've got some good stuff coming up. We've got Belinda that's going to be reviewing some cybersecurity insurance claims, or not the claims themselves, but how to prepare for those. We've got some horror stories of failed incident responses with Don Garner, hoping that I'm not on any of those horror stories. Um, we've got some things and content about CrowdStrike. We've got Dynamics GP, which is something that is pretty exciting to me because I know almost nothing about it. We've got Steve Anderson on that one. Should be some really good content. And then we've got a little bit more of an overview with James Schuler about some of the cyber security threats um, that we anticipate for 2025. So feel free to chime in if you've got any questions during our conversation here about practical use of AI. So really what I know there's a lot of different ways that you can start with AI. People have started with Chat GPT, and I think um, it's been a very positive thing for me. So one of the things that I use AI for is in meetings. Right? So part of my role is to meet with customers and help them to work through some of the challenges that they might be facing and come up with solutions. And one of the things that is critical to that is making sure that I have all of the data that I need when I'm done with that conversation, so I can build like a bill of materials or something like that. And what I have found through an AI assistant that everybody likes to talk about it, right? If you have recently joined a meeting with me in the last probably 6 months to a year, you've probably seen my AI assistant on there. We have all sorts of great jokes. I've got some pictures of what I think he looks like. Um, but that AI assistant joins all of these meetings and records and transcribes them for us. And what I have found is that in a practical way, I really didn't know what I was getting into when I started it. I did have to go through and review some policies to make sure that hey, I'm not sending my data out there. There were concerns from our CISO and some of the uh, technical leads at Center about hey, where's this data going? But I did some research, figured out the policies that were behind that, and um, just kind of started off, right? I didn't know what value I was going to get out of it. I just
Mike, did he freeze for everybody?
Yeah, did I lose you guys or did we lose Ariel? I'm
I
I'm
think
trying to
I think we
determine that.
lost Ariel.
Okay, I will gracefully transition then. I think what he was going to discuss is how he's been working on his policy for his AI transcriber to essentially make it easier for him to summarize all of the discussions he has with you folks, um, which just makes it much easier for him to save his time and be more efficient. Um, as he's going through these types of discussions with you guys. I've only worked with Ariel for a few months now, but I can tell you he's an extremely busy individual. And so being able to leverage certain tools to help save you time and improve your business outcomes is going to be really relevant. Something that I wanted to talk to you guys today, especially because a lot of the audience are part of IT administration, and you guys are using a ton of different technologies, many of which Center is providing to you guys, is the use of co-pilots popping up within the industry. And I think that co-pilots are, it originally started with Microsoft just popping up and saying, hey, we're the first guys to the market. We're going to call our technology the co-pilot. But over time, we're finding that other technology companies are also creating these different co-pilots. And if you guys are unfamiliar with those, it's essentially a technology that is designed to bring an industry expert in-house at a much reduced cost for you guys. And so um, my customers range anywhere from 15 employees to 10,000 employees. I have seen Copilot start to get leverage across the board. And so if you guys are a Microsoft shop, but you don't have a Microsoft expert and you want a little bit of information on how am I going to implement this practically, where can I start to manage this solution, how can I troubleshoot this thing, the idea here is that you can write questions to your Copilot or your expert in-house, who again, you did not have to hire an industry expert for, it's an AI, and that'll start reducing the amount of risk in your organization, the risks of outages, the risks of misconfigurations. Here at Checkpoint, we actually developed our own Copilot in the last 6 months. It's continuing to get a lot of traction and a lot of improvements. But as an example, let's say you were to buy a firewall from us and you've never been a firewall expert, and you've read the admin guide and you're trying to figure out, okay, what is the right way for me to write a policy? And so you go to Checkpoint Copilot and you say, hey, I've got these IP ranges. I want a policy that is this type of threat prevention. I'm trying to build out NAT rules in this particular manner. And it will spit out a guide for you tailored to your requirements with step by steps. And along each step of the way, not just for Checkpoint, but the idea is it'll also educate your administrative staff as they're going through it. Hey, we're building a policy in this particular manner because that's going to match your goal. We want a NAT rule in this way to reduce any conflicts with these other rules. The idea is to have that comprehensive expert within your environment. And while Checkpoint and Microsoft are some of the first ones to the market with these co-pilots, definitely into 2025, you're going to start seeing all of your technology vendors developing this type of technology. So just kind of curious if the folks in the chat, if anybody here has actually worked with a Copilot yet, or has seen a Copilot, or wants to share any of those experiences. From my customers' perspectives, they have been low cost, very effective, and have improved, especially on a lot of the repetitive tasks, or even tasks that your IT administrators have never used before in the past. So the idea here is, again, make you more efficient, bring in an industry expert at a lower cost, and then provide a ton of value to you guys, especially in the SMB space where you may not have the same resources or the same sized IT teams. By the way, if you guys hear any sort of yelling in the background, that's one of my cats who wants food. It's not a baby or anything, so I'm not sure what you guys are hearing, but I've got an angry cat who wants my attention.
No worries, Michael. The AI noise cancellation is working great.
Awesome. And sorry, Ariel, I'll kick it back to you. I think you wanted to continue your discussion about your AI helper, right, in the teams?
Yes, sorry about that. Had a little
No worries.
technical difficulty over here. So where I was going with that is I didn't really understand the value or know the value ahead of time of what I was going to get out of the AI assistant. And what I found was that I just kind of had it there. It was probably a month or two in, and it recorded things. I could go back and look at them. But what I found was after I went to my first on-site meeting after that and did not have my AI assistant, I felt naked. I felt like I didn't have a critical tool that I needed to be successful. And what I realized that this tool was doing for me, it was helping me to be more engaged. So rather than having to focus on, all right, here's the storage array and here's the networking of links that they've got for this solution, trying to record user counts and things like that, I was able to really engage more with our customers, you guys, and focus more on having a productive conversation versus trying to record every last critical detail and panicking that I might not have a piece of information that's key to me delivering what I said I would deliver. So that was an unintended value that I got out of my AI assistant that I thought was pretty powerful. So being able to engage more and transitioning that low value or repetitive task over to a different system that was really valuable to me. So is that I know there's probably some people on here that are in a lot of meetings. That may be something that you can look at. Teams has some really good options there with the Teams premium license, being able to review the content and the transcripts, things like that. So definitely worth checking out.
Yeah, and that is something I will probably check out too, because there have been a ton of calls where I go in and, like you said, what was the user count again, and what was that exact use case, and especially on the engineering side, and I'm sure we have some engineers on the call. When you start jumping into a lot of the weeds and the details, sometimes you miss taking a note, and then you've got to go back and figure out what it was. So that actually seems helpful, and I'll probably take a look at that myself after this call. Something
For
else
sure.
oh, go ahead.
Go for it, Michael.
No, I was going to bring up the second kind of practical AI technology that I thought we should look at, and something we should discuss, especially heading into 2025. But I wanted to start it with one of my favorite kind of ChatGPT errors. I don't know if any of you guys have seen any TED Talks on ChatGPT, but someone was trying to point out some of the flaws within AI. And so a good example of this was, if you guys have ever heard, if you ask ChatGPT and you tell it, hey, it takes me 30 minutes to dry one piece of clothing, one t-shirt on a clothesline, how long is it going to take me to dry off 2 pieces of clothing? And ChatGPT will take it, it'll multiply it out, and says it's going to take 60 minutes. But we all know that when you're putting clothes on a clothesline, they all dry at the same amount of time. And so there are some parts of AI that aren't, quite there yet. It's missing a little bit of context. But there is one superpower of AI that I wanted to discuss with you guys, which is the power of data analytics and its ability to find non-obvious insights. So for the folks on the call, for you guys running your own businesses, I'm assuming that most of you, to an extent, use data to try to leverage getting better information about your business, try to understand the efficiency of how you're operating, try to help make better decisions about the future for how you're going to, what is my plan for the next 12 months or 24 months. And for a lot of you guys, it can be really expensive to go out and hire a team of data analysts. And from my own examples with my own customers, I've got a customer today who has a 10-man data analyst team, and something their CIO was talking to me about the other day was that they went and leveraged some AI to look at the same data sets that their analyst team is currently looking at, and they found that their AI was doing a better job at correlating data and then actually coming up with non-obvious insights that their own analyst team wasn't seeing. So you're giving a group of 10 people, you're giving an AI the same data set, they're both coming to different conclusions, not necessarily conflicting, but just seeing more or seeing something that the other group isn't quite seeing. So a really good strength of machine learning that we're finding is that when it comes to scanning data, and I'm talking huge amounts of data, not just small chunks of it, it is really efficient at doing so. To give you guys an idea of the breadth and scope of that within Checkpoint, we have something called Threat Cloud AI within Checkpoint, and it's kind of like the brains behind how all of our threat detections work in our solutions today. And that Threat Cloud AI is absorbing billions of bits of information every single day. I've got over 10 million endpoints out in the field that are providing information, over 150,000 protected networks, over 150 million emails per day are being scanned. I've got just enormous amounts of data. We parse through more data here at Checkpoint than there are Google searches within a day, and we catch 7,000 zero-day attacks every single day. And I can tell you right now that none of that would be possible without leveraging AI to look at all of this rich data, break it all down, find the most important 7,000 pieces of data every day to identify those new threats. And we're honing in billions of inputs down to the 7,000 insights that we need to look at. And so for any of you guys moving into 2025, if you're an extremely data-driven organization, I would highly look into finding a way to leverage AI within your organization to parse through that data and hopefully come up with some non-obvious insights that you or your data analyst team may not be able to pick up on their own. Ariel, anything you want to add to that, or anything from your side?
Yeah, so that was great. One of the things is that you mentioned there kind of at the end was you've got to get data into the AI platform. And if you're using something like a virtual assistant or Copilot for 365, the key there is to make sure that your data is getting into OneDrive or SharePoint. That's really the data source for those AIs. ChatGPT, as probably everyone knows, has a web interface. You can upload pictures and text and things like that. But really, to start getting value out of the AI components of Copilot for 365, you need to get your data there. So we've worked with several customers to go through the process to make uh, their data AI ready, which really just means putting it into a spot that is accessible by the AI. You want to make sure that the data you're putting there is the right kind of data, right? You want to make sure that you don't have credit card information or HR information being inadvertently exposed. I think that's probably the number one use case or concern, not use case for AI, right? As soon as I got Copilot, the first, I think probably in the first 10 prompts that I put in there is Ariel valuable to center, right? Trying to comb through all of our SharePoint data and see what it thought about me. I didn't find anything, thankfully, but it getting the data there is important. So if you're starting with something like just Copilot for 365, one of the things that I found is you can save that transcript, and then if it's a Word document in OneDrive, you can then start to do some interesting things using the Office platform, right? You can open a new Word document, click on your little Copilot button, and say, reference this transcript file. Now give me something out of that. And you can produce some pretty cool stuff out of it. You can produce much higher quality summaries than what you see in the Teams platform by itself. Right? If you log into Copilot in Teams and say like recap this meeting, it's a pretty short little blurb there. But once you start adding in that transcript file and you add in, here's my SharePoint contact or content with a slide deck talking about Center, I can now start to produce some really relevant content for myself. So that's one thing that I thought was pretty cool.
Awesome. So I've got one more talking point for you guys that I wanted to discuss, and I think this is the most fun one, especially from a cybersecurity practitioner point of view, and that is the use of generative AI within the workspace. That word always tricks me up, but I'm going to call it Gen AI because it's easier to say. And I'm sure many of you have already interacted with the Chat GPTs of the world, the Geminis of the world. There are some AIs you might not even be realizing you're working with. For those of you that use Grammarly, that's another AI. But from viewing those through a security lens, these are the ones that are going to expose a little bit more risk to your organization. And the way that happens is by not having the right visibility into how your users are actually leveraging AI. So first one's which ones are they using? What are the types of prompts they're inputting in there? And then of course, what is the risk level of those prompts and can I actually stop them from inputting those? And so to give you guys some examples, if you guys have a developer in-house who's going to ChatGPT and saying, hey, ChatGPT, I got a specific problem, here it is, can you tell me how you would solve it? That type of prompt may not be something that's giving you a lot of risk. You're educating your user and you're coming up with a way to solve a coding problem. But if he's like me, I do a little bit of coding on the side. Sometimes I take my whole function and I paste it straight into ChatGPT and I say, ChatGPT, what's wrong with my code here? And it'll say, well, Michael, you've got 4 issues with your code. It's here, 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 and here. But me, I just put a shared secret in there, which is essentially a password for the non-tech people here. I put in an API token, which allows ChatGPT to have visibility to my password for different APIs. I put in proprietary code, which is now being a part of ChatGPT's algorithm. So the goal here is we don't want to overexpose ourselves, and we want to leverage AI for the right type of business outcomes, but we don't want to add any more risk into the system. And so, from a Checkpoint perspective, we've been working on a browser plugin. It's called GenAI Protect. It comes out Q1 of next year. But its job is to basically solve the problem of number one, give you visibility into how your employees are using AI, who's using it, which platforms are they using. Number two, what kind of prompts are they putting into it? Is it coding? Are they writing legal documents? Are they writing emails? Number three, what is the risk contextually of what they're uploading to ChatGPT or Gemini or POE or Grammarly? And of course, number four, being able to block any information you don't want leaving. PCI, IP, legal documents. We don't want you talking about the acquisition you're going to make and giving out dates and dollar amounts and which company it is you're going to acquire just to come up with a boilerplate legal document. So from that perspective, cybersecurity is getting very interesting, and there are a lot of ways you can exploit these Gen AI tools to kind of give up more information than what you're expecting. And there's quite a few examples out on the web of that. The last fun piece I'll offer before I pass it to Ariel, because I'm sure you have some Gen AI stuff too. If you guys have never used Gen AI and you're not sure how strong it is, I would encourage you guys to go to a place called suno.com. It's suno.com. And it is an AI tool for creating music based off of a prompt. It'll create any genre of music. It'll create instrumental with vocals, whatever you want. There's a lot of tools for it. Go in there and say, I want a cool song about why Center Technologies is the best partner for me. And it's going to whip up an entire song about it. And it's super awesome. You get 10 of them for free over there. But if you're not convinced that Gen AI is going to be changing your business, go see the type of things that it's doing out there today. Ariel, anything you want to add on the Gen AI side of the house?
Yeah, I would
Say that website again.
SUNO. Suno. I'll put it in chat.
So with Gen AI, I think that's the content that comes out of those types of like code analytic prompts and things like that. That's really, really cool to me. So coming from an infrastructure background, I know a lot about PowerShell, how to kind of make it work, but I was never really in a position where I needed to generate that type of content from scratch. So that was always a bit of a challenge. I needed to find a script or something on GitHub that got me 90% of the way there, and then I could use Gen AI to kind of tweak the rest. Really wish this had been around like 10 years ago. That would have helped me be a lot faster. But one of the cool things that I found, and it was really neat because I had my 7-year-old in there too. We were talking about ChatGPT and what it could do, and I was talking to my wife and said, "Hey, check this out." And I said, "Copilot, not ChatGPT, can you connect to my Twilio account, generate 100 thoughtful text messages, and give me a PowerShell script to send one to my wife every day?" And bam, from scratch, it knew, here's my data source, here's Twilio, here's where you put it. It gave me a spot to put in my API key to connect to my account, and it produced a PowerShell script and said, this is how you're going to schedule this to send it every day. And my wife was blown away by that. I had immediately put myself on a list of, hey, is he really sending me these messages? Like 2 days from then, I sent her a nice message, and she said, really, you're trying to pull this on me already? And I was like, no, it's me. It's not ChatGPT. But the powerful story there is that all I did was say, use these tools like Twilio and PowerShell and find a way to achieve this outcome. And I know Randy asked a message about how do we get Copilot to automate things for us. And a good thing to know is that there are low no code platforms like Power Automate that support Copilot. So if you have a need to or want to save attachments from your inbox and put them into a OneDrive folder and then email you a summary in a week, or pull action items out of them and send it to your Outlook task list, you can do that, right? If you have Copilot and you go to Power Automate, tell it what you're looking for, and it will help you to build that workflow in Power Automate to achieve kind of what you're looking for. That way, well, I should say that is one way to make automation for AI easily accessible to those of us that aren't going to go out and build a full-on AI chatbot that says run financial reports for 2024.
Awesome. I think we've got a couple minutes left, right, Haley? So is it question
Yeah,
time?
if there's any questions that come in, I think you answered one as it came in, so we're good there. But if anyone else has any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. If we don't get to them now, we'll definitely be sure to follow back up with an answer after the workshop. I'll give everyone a couple seconds if you have any questions, but otherwise, thank you, Michael and Ariel, for y'all's time. And I think we're gonna kind of go to the next session. We have Director of Security Ops, Belinda Reynolds, joined by Al Dawson, Director of Channel Alliances at Arctic Wolf, with us to talk about new best practices for filing cyber insurance claims.
Awesome. Thank you guys for your time.
Yes,
You guys enjoyed
thank
the
you,
day.
Michael.
Thank
you,
you.
Ariel.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.